Hello, everyone. How you all doing today? I just wanted to talk about something that I hold dear to my heart. Um, Honestly, because I've been through it myself, and I feel like a lot of people they don't understand that they're not the only ones going through it. And I just want to let you know that you're not alone. Um, I don't know if y'all know or not, but this month right here is Mental Health Awareness Month. Um, and I recognize that a lot of people out there uh, are going through issues with mental health. I recognize that a lot of people don't like to talk about their own mental health, and I also recognize that a lot of families have mental health disabilities in their families, and it's just not shared. Um, So, with that said, it is important that you go through and ask the elders in your family about mental health disabilities because a lot of times it's not discussed. And the one thing that you don't want is you end up going through something and you go off the edge and you don't know why. Because mental health is hereditary. It does run in families. So it's important to know if that stuff is there. Um, but that's one tidbit that I want to give you. But I'm also going to share my story with mental health and why I feel so passionate about it. I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all don't know because honestly, I haven't really shared a video about my personal life. But I served in the United States Air Force. I was in the Air Force. I served as a security forces member. For everybody out there in the world that don't know what a security forces member is, we're technically, well, we're the military police. In the Air Force, we're technically like the infantry. Um, in the Air Force, we're the ones that carry the guns. We're the ones that go to war. It's um it's us and like two other different job classifications that actually does those things in the Air Force. And I joined the military in 2008. Um, Once I joined the military, I was stationed at Okinawa, Japan. And during my time in Okinawa, Japan, I deployed. I deployed in 2010 to Balad, Iraq, aka Mortareeville. I know, crazy name, but they called it Mortareeville for a good reason. I thought it was a weird name before I went to, until I actually got there. But they call it Mortareeville because the amount of mortars that you get while you're there, and you get a lot of mortars. I was there a total of 181 days. Um, And the entire time I was there, I think they tracked over 1,000 mortars. We have been bombed over 1,000 times over there. Um, it went down. It went down every day, especially whenever we got a lot of fog and rain. So uh, that's hence the name Mortareeville. But uh, it was a it was an experience to say. But that year in 2010, I went through a few life changing events that changed me, I would say. Um, with me, I have always considered myself a man's man. And when I say man's man, I mean like I'm strong. I don't share my feelings. If I can do it, I'm doing it by myself, and I don't need no one's help. uh, And I kept a lot of stuff bottled up on the inside. During that time while I was there in 2010, um, I was going through things in my personal life. I was going through things in the military, and I was going through things mentally that I was well, the things mentally I was unaware that it was happening to me until it was too late. Um, the one thing about mental health is when it happens, sometimes it happen gradually, and sometimes it hits you hard. But the thing about mental health is once it start working on you, it starts to work on you. And it's really, really quick for it to spiral completely out of control. Um, Whenever I was going through what I was going through, one of the signs that I was starting to deal with depression that I didn't recognize then is I stopped eating. Um, I had stopped eating. I stopped sleeping. Um, I know y'all don't know me, but I'm a very social person. I'm very talkative. I can make a friend out of anybody. I stopped that. Uh, and all around, I just stopped being myself. Now, um, I worked in this place where, well, we was confined pretty much. We did a lot of tracking and doing stuff like that and sending people out on calls. And when everything started spiraling out of control, the first time, when everything started spiraling out of control, I went to the bathroom, to get a break pretty much. And I'm in there and I'm sitting in the bathroom and something told me to kill myself pretty much. Uh, I looked at my pistol, 9mm Beretta. I looked at it and I thought in my head, nobody cares about you. There's no point in you being here. Um, and that was mainly because, I was calling home, and I was calling everybody at home, mom, dad, sisters, everybody. I was calling everybody at home. And I was getting called here and there and but I wasn't getting, in my mind, I wasn't getting the love that I thought that I should have been getting, I guess. Whenever I think back to it after years of therapy, that's what I kind of boiled it down to. But I looked at my sidearm and I contemplated suicide. Um, Give or take, I didn't do it that day, but I started contemplating it and it started running through my mind. After a few weeks of being there, after a few more weeks, I started looking at it and playing with my sidearm a little more than I should have been. Well, honestly, you should never play with a weapon, period. Okay. But I started playing with my weapon, just taking the bullets out, putting them back in, doing little dumb crap like that. And one day I was like, I wonder how it feels against my head. So I placed my pistol to my head, no bullets in it, to see how it felt. Yeah, and I contemplated, but I put it back in my holster, and I went back in the building with everybody else, and didn't tell anybody what I did. The next time it happened, though, in the bathroom again, doing the same thing, messing with my sidearm, and I had got so depressed to where I know I didn't want to live anymore. So I unholstered my sidearm again, but this time I kept the bullets in it. Um, I placed my sidearm against my head and I tried to take my own life. And I know what you're saying. Well, There ain't no bullet wounds on you. You see, I ain't got no bullet wounds or nothing like that. Uh, but I put the gun to my head and I squeezed the trigger as hard as I could, um, trying to take my life, and I couldn't do it. And I tried. I tried hard. Um, but I chunked it up as, well, now that I chunked it up after the years of therapy. Um, I'll get back to that later. But I tried it, and it something stopped me. um, and the depression never got any better, and I never spoke to anyone about it. I just kept dealing with it by myself. It just so happened that a supervisor, um, she seen the change in my behavior. Uh, she seen me withdrawn from people, and she started getting worried. I can't remember her name, but if you do see this video, I thank you. I really do appreciate you for actually sending me to mental health. When I went to mental health, they decided to disarm me. So I had no weapon no more the whole time I was there. Um, During this whole time when all these events was occurring with me, I never told anyone about this stuff. I kept it to myself. Um, people asked me why I was disarmed. I would just say, well, they took my weapon, like it, and I just left it like that. Fast forward. In 2014, I separated from the military. Um, and I remind you, I was still going through my depression issues the entire time, up until the entire time. I've always dealt with that, but I never told anybody. In 2014, I separated from the military, and I couldn't find a job. Um, and I just had a newborn. I just had a newborn child, a little girl. I love her to death. I mean, she's beautiful, smart, intelligent. But I just had a child, and I couldn't find a job, and the bills was getting behind, and that depression is sought back in even harder than it did before. And like I said, I'm the type of person where I don't share my emotions and I don't share my feelings. I keep them to myself. I have always been like that. And you know that saying, pressure bust pipes. And it's very true. Pressure bust pipes. And I snapped. Not snapped like I did something to somebody, but snapped like I didn't want to be here anymore. So I attempted suicide again. But this time it was with a train. I was driving one day. I was going over a train track. That train track didn't have the bars that came down to stop you. I stopped my car on that track. I sat there and I watched this train come and slam towards me, and I had no want to pull off that track. I was that far gone where I didn't want to pull off the track. And the only thing that stopped me from staying on that track was a picture that I had of my daughter. It snapped me back into the world. It let me know that there was somebody out here that I need to be here for. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm married. I have a wife. I have a beautiful wife. I love her to death. Do anything for her. But my daughter, she just snapped something in me, man. And I looked down at that picture and I hit the gas. Get off them tracks, dude. You got something to live for. And I started pursuing therapy. I called the VA the next day. I found a therapist. I sat down with my therapist and I told her everything. Well, not everything, but I told her, like, look, I need help because I don't understand what's going on with me. I didn't understand why I was having these emotions and these feelings of not wanting to live anymore, of not wanting to be here. And I ain't want to, I ain't want to feel like that no more, you know? So I started seeking help. And with all those moments, I don't know if you guys is watching this, I don't know if you believe in God or not. I don't know if y'all believe in a higher power, but I do. And I chunked it up as is my work's not done. Uh, God has something greater for me because like the first time I attempted suicide in that bathroom, there were bullets in that gun. I know I tried to pull that trigger. And I know I tried to pull that trigger. And I know I did. And I squeezed tight to try to pull that trigger. And it didn't go off. When I was in front of that train, I wanted to go. And I attempted it. And I know I wanted to go because of the mindset that I was in when I was in front of that train. And I felt it. And I knew it. I knew I wanted to go. But once again, he stopped me. So that's my story with mental health. Listen, if you having any type of thoughts hurting yourself, if you having any type of thoughts hurting anyone, if you feeling like you don't need to be on this earth or something's or you feel like you're inadequate or feel like you're not needed, sis, bruh, you are. And there are people out there that can help. And there's people out there that would love to help you. And if you feel like you can't find nobody to help you, listen, this is my page. This is my YouTube page. And I give you full permission to contact me. I will help you find somebody. And if I can't, my wife will. My wife's a licensed mental health counselor. And for all you people out there that think that mental health is a game, it is not a game. Mental health is real. And, my wife has this saying. She says, everybody's one life-changing event from a mental health break. And I want you to sit back and I want you to think about that. Everybody's a life-changing event from a mental health break. And during my time living on this earth, I have encountered several people. There was nothing wrong with them at all. They never had any history of mental health in their family. And one event happened to them in their life and they snapped. Take care of your mind. It's the strongest thing you got on your body is your mind. And then, just seek help if you need help. Family members, if you're watching this, learn the signs learn the signs. Learn how to identify if a family member is having issues. And listen, stop trying to chunk it up as it ain't nothing wrong with you. Stop saying that we're going to pray about it. For all my Christian folks out there like myself. God created doctors. And he created doctors for a reason. He gave man knowledge for a reason. Stop saying you can pray it out. Because everything you can't pray out. And that's facts. So, like I said before, seek the help. If you can't find the help, reach out to me. Now, here we go. Here we go. Now, I got one thing that I want. Oh, now I got one thing to ask all y'all. Now, I realize there's a lot of people out there that think that they're going through it by themselves. So what I want to do is show people that they're not going through it by themselves. So I have a task for you. An ask of you. Below, right down there, you'll see the little bar, boop, where you can type stuff in. What I want you to do is type in there, you are not alone. Because I want people to know that they're not going through this by themselves. And with that said, I'm gonna let you go. I love all y'all. Peace.